The Straw, the Coal and the Bean by Jacob Grimm and Wilhelm Grimm. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a poor old woman. One day she gathered together a small dish of beans and decided to cook them for her supper. She built a fire on her hearth, and to make it burn faster, she lit it with a handful of straw. As she poured the beans into the pan, one slipped away without her noticing. It rolled onto the floor and landed beside a single piece of straw. A moment later, a glowing coal leapt from the fire and came to rest near them both. The straw was the first to speak. "Dear friends," she said, "where have you come from?" The coal crackled and replied, "I escaped from the fire by sheer luck. If I hadn't jumped out, I would have burned to ashes." The bean added, "I too escaped with my skin intact. If that old woman had thrown me into the pot, I'd have been boiled into broth, just like all my poor companions." "And do you think I had it better?" said the straw. "The old woman burned all my brothers in smoke and flame, 60 at once. She grabbed them in handfuls, and I only just slipped through her fingers." The three of them sat in silence for a moment, thinking of their narrow escapes. Then the coal asked, "What shall we do now?" The bean thought for a moment and said, "Since we've all escaped death, we should stay together like good friends. Let's travel far away from here before misfortune finds us again." The others agreed at once, and so they set off together, the straw, the coal, and the bean. 3 unlikely companions on a small adventure. After some time they came to a little brook. There was no bridge and no plank across it, and they stood wondering how they might get to the other side. Then the straw had an idea. "I'll lay myself across," she said proudly. "You can walk over me like a bridge." The straw stretched herself across the water from one bank to the other. The coal, being bold and full of energy, stepped onto the straw and began to cross. But when she reached the middle and heard the water rushing below, she suddenly grew afraid. She froze, trembling on the bridge. Then the straw, weakened by the heat of the coal, began to smoulder. With a soft crackle, she broke in two and fell into the stream. The coal tumbled in after her, hissed as she hit the cold water, and went out forever. The bean, who had wisely stayed behind on the shore, couldn't help it. She laughed. She laughed so hard at the sight of her friend's misfortune that she burst apart. It might have been the end for her too, if not for a kind tailor passing by. He sat down by the brook to rest, saw the poor split bean, and having a gentle heart, took out his needle and thread. He carefully sewed her back together. The bean thanked him most sweetly, but since the tailor only had black thread, she was left with a dark seam, and ever since that day all beans have had a little black line, reminding us of the straw, the coal, and the bean who once set out on an adventure together. The end.